Hey guys, welcome back to my podcast. I'm your host Sajjaad, and in today's video, we're joined today by Karen. She's a current computer science student at the Imperial College London, and I really wanted to bring her on today's podcast because I know I've been interviewing a lot of professionals in the tech industry, a lot of people who sort of been through it, maybe have a couple years of experience, but I kind of want to give you guys a perspective of a person who's going through it currently, a person who's currently studying computer science, and maybe some advice and like different challenges that she's currently facing. So Karen, hope you're doing well today. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And I know I gave a little introduction about you. And I know personally, when we were talking before this podcast, you were mentioning how you've kind of been all around the world. So could you give us a little background about yourself?
So my name is Karen and I'm half French, half Vietnamese, but I was raised in Malaysia up until high school. So after high school, I took a gap year and I spent an entire year in Spain where I just learned Spanish. And after that, I did a bachelor's in chemical engineering. And I'm in London doing my master's in computer science. So it's a 1-year conversion course.
Wow. So literally like all around the world.
Yeah. Where are you based in the States?
Yeah. So around Washington, D.C., East Coast of the United States.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of getting a little more into your background. So I wanted to get an understanding of kind of the schooling in London, why you chose London, and kind of how you landed in tech.
Yeah. So first of all, I just wanted to be in a very, very big city. So when I'm young, I just feel like being in a big city where there's a lot happening is a lot more interesting, just for me personally. Also, the universities here are quite highly ranked. And why I chose tech, it's because I have always liked STEM. I've always liked things that were very objective and rational and that required like critical thinking and analytical skills and problem solving as well. So I tried engineering and I did not really enjoy it. Maybe it was because it was during COVID, but it was just not my cup of tea. So I decided to do tech. So yeah, that's why I'm doing computer science now.
So that's where you said you studied your bachelor's in chemical engineering and made that jump so you studied the whole degree even though you didn't like it?
I mean, because there was COVID every year, I was telling myself like, okay, maybe it's because there was COVID, and I kept giving it another year, but actually it was the same. And yeah, since at that point there was just like a few months left, I was like, I'm just gonna keep doing it. Yeah. Why did you choose computer science?
I pretty much like in high school, I took AP computer science, like the high school level of it. And I kind of enjoyed it. Growing up, I was always like pretty decent at math, and things just like flowed naturally towards like the STEM direction. AP computer science was good. I did like one internship and I was like, you know what, this is pretty solid. Majored it in college and things just like worked out. You know, like when things just like naturally like click for you, right? That's kind of what happened there, you know?
Yeah. It hasn't happened to me yet for computer science.
Okay. Yeah.
It must be a nice feeling. Yeah.
When did you start studying computer science?
So I just started in October. It's January now of 2024. So it's just been a few months. So this is all really new to me.
Okay. And I guess I wanted to understand, so why did you choose like your master's specifically? I know some people like to break into tech, choose like a bootcamp certifications, but why the master's for you?
Yeah, so first of all, I just knew I wanted to do a master's. I didn't know in what. So my safety choice was actually in chemical engineering. And like, even though computer science is so hard, I'm really happy that I'm not doing chemical engineering right now because it's like another level of difficulty. It's as hard, but it's just really hard as well. So why a master's?
Yeah.
So London, like the job market in London is also really competitive. So either way, I wanted to do a master's. And because I found this course at Imperial that I really liked, I just decided to like test my luck and apply for it.
Interesting. And did you choose any specific like specialization?
So I chose the general one. They have other specialization courses like visual computing and robotics and machine learning and AI. But since I'm just very new to all of this, I decided to just go for the general one.
You didn't really care for like the machine learning AI. That's usually the thing that like excites people a lot, right?
Yes, but so in term 2 for my course, you can have electives and you can specialize in some way. So I think in a way, even though it is a general course, you still have the option to choose like electives later. So
I see. Yeah, you know, actually when I did my master's, right? So I had a specialization that was interactive intelligence. So about half
Mm-hmm.
my degree was focused on that, but I also had the thing where like half my degree was actually like I could choose whatever courses I wanted to. So it's kind of cool. Like,
Yeah.
so you're saying like
Yeah.
half your degree is like whatever you want to
Yeah, I would
do?
say half. So it's like a
Okay.
third because we have two-thirds are modules and the other third is like the project. So the project you can do it in any topic you like, and one third
Uh-huh.
is like compulsory modules, and then the other one is like electives.
Oh, okay, okay. So actually, like getting a little down into your coursework, what are some like different
Hmm.
courses that you're currently taking?
Yeah, so in the first term, we did C++, which was called Principles and Practices of Programming. We have computer systems, we have software system engineering, and also like logic and mathematics.
Hmm.
These are the mandatory modules.
So I guess a person new to computer science is your first language C++?
Yes.
Oh, how's
Yes,
that
and
been?
it's like, since I don't know anything else actually, because I have never coded before, like it's hard, but I guess I don't know how hard it is because I can't really compare it to like other languages. And
Yeah.
they also asked us to edit, like use the editors like Emacs and Vim. And every time I tell people I used Emacs, they're like, why?
Oh,
So
interesting, interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, C++ as like a beginner language, I can't even like imagine. Like so like
Yeah.
here what high schoolers usually learn AP computer science is usually in
Yeah.
Java, but like if you start learning programming in college it's usually Python cuz that's
Yeah.
traditionally like the most like easy language. But
Yeah.
like I can't imagine learning C++ as your first language. Must be
Yeah. So you
difficult,
started
right?
with Python.
No, no. So since I started in high school, it was Java, but most
Okay.
people who start computer science in college start with
Okay.
Python.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you done any like cool like projects as part of like your coursework so far?
Yeah, so it's just been a few months. So
Hmm.
it might not sound that cool to professionals, but I think within like a few weeks, we had to code like a Sudoku solver in C++. So I think that for me at that time, I was like, wow, this is crazy because I just started this course. We
Yeah.
also had to build like a web application using Flask,
Uh-huh.
and we had to create dynamic backends. And I think that just again, within like a few weeks of learning computer science, I think that was just like a massive jump for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're doing full-fledged projects after your first line of code was written in October.
Yeah, we started in October and then we had a group project that was due in December, and it was like a full web application deployed to the cloud with unit tests, like using
Wow.
APIs, everything.
That's
Yeah. Have
insane.
you done
And
any cool projects recently?
other than like my work stuff, not really, but I don't want to
Yeah.
talk about my work here. But like in terms
Yeah.
of like my college, so some cool projects I did in college. So I also did like this web application. It was like this
Hmm.
Pomodoro application, which is like this like
Hmm.
project management timer thing.
Yeah, I've
Um,
heard of it actually.
yeah, 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 and it was cool because
Hmm.
like we also had to like fully deploy that. But my
Yeah.
team was like very like front end focused, so it was like a little
Yeah.
easier than I guess what you described.
Hmm.
Yours was like the full thing, but
No,
I've
I'm
also
sure I'm sure yours was harder.
I don't know, but then I also did some like machine learning projects. Like when
Hmm.
COVID hit, like we did this like COVID-19 like death predictor. So like certain like
Yeah.
factors in like certain countries and like how to determine like how many deaths are going to happen due to COVID. That was a cool
Yeah.
project. And yeah, just like a couple of things like that. We did like this stock market simulation project one time.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And the COVID one, the COVID project, was that
Hmm.
like released to the public or?
No, it wasn't released to the public, but I do gotta say, like, it was a very like impactful project. And actually, like
Yeah.
when you're building your resume, and we'll talk a little more about like career stuff a
Yeah,
little later on, but when you're building your resume, having like these impactful projects really helps you stand out. Because
for
it's
sure.
excellent things you can talk about in interviews.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so kind of going forward a little more. So I know
Hmm.
some people who start computer science sometimes have imposter syndrome where they kind of
Yeah.
compare themselves to other people who may be thriving really well or may just be achieving way more than they currently are. Have you faced any imposter syndrome? Do you have any advice for us as the
Yeah.
audience?
Yeah. So every single day, especially like since I started this course, it's never been like so real. So because I'm doing a conversion course, there are people from lots of different backgrounds. There's even one guy in my course that's a software developer himself. So it's very, very easy to feel like you shouldn't be there and that you're just not enough. So some advice, I would say number one, just never compare yourself to the people around you and just really believe that you're here for a reason. So you've already made it this far and there's a reason why they accepted your application. And everyone works differently. So you might be seeing your friends waking up at 5 a.m. to start revising and studying. And that doesn't mean that you need to do the same thing. It's just that we all work differently. And what may be like best for you is not what's best for others. So just really don't compare yourself. That's what I've been learning ever since I started this course.
Yeah, I love that. Like, don't compare yourselves to others. I know it's like obviously easier said than done, but like it's so true, because like just because someone else is able to achieve something doesn't mean you're a failure, and just because you're succeeding doesn't mean other people are failures. It makes no sense to compare yourselves to others. Rather, like try to work
different.
Yeah, just try to work collaboratively, if anything, like
exactly.
If someone is able to achieve something, maybe ask them how they did it, or at least if someone is able to get a nice internship, ask them to give you a referral. Like, think of it in a collaborative sense rather than a competitive sense.
Yeah, like don't compare other people's strengths to your weaknesses. We're all different. We all have different strengths. So
yeah, and also like a big thing specifically about like college students, everyone's young, right? Like, it's not like just because you don't like understand something right then and there that you're going to be a failure for the rest of your life. No, it's like you got to build up your like 50, 60 year long career. It takes time, right? So that's another thing I like to tell people.
Yeah. Would you have any other advice for people starting computer science?
Instead of trying to compare yourselves to other people, compare yourselves to you yesterday. Like, are you incrementally improving? Are you getting better every day? Are you doing the work? Like, there's like this really important saying I like to think about is like, extraordinary results come after doing ordinary things for an extraordinary period of time.
Yeah.
So as long as you continuously do the right things, you'll eventually get it. The learning curve for computer science, it's pretty steep. It's difficult for like anyone who's just starting out. And some people are able to get it quicker. Some people take a little more time, but eventually people generally end up getting it. So as long as you're improving in that like sort of curve to get there, I think you'll be fine. That's like a big advice I tell people. And I know when we were talking about earlier, we wanted to address something about like being a woman in STEM. Sometimes like people feel a little like left out, or like, I know I've talked to some other like women I've interviewed on this podcast, and they've had like some unusual experiences that they've shared. So do you have any experiences or advice for other women in STEM?
Yeah, so luckily for me, I haven't had any really bad experiences being a woman in STEM. Well, that's also because I think when I was doing my chemical engineering course, we had, it was COVID, and the female and male ratio was actually quite like equal. But so I just started my master's, and I can actually see quite a like tangible difference between like the amount of male and female in that course. But yeah, overall, it hasn't been that bad. There was just once where someone was just doubting me and telling me how the reason why I don't understand things in class is because I'm not working hard enough. And I think that we're not even close. So the fact that he told me that just offended me, because I feel like it's so rude, and I did not really ask for your opinion. If I'm asking for help, like, don't tell me that. So
for other like women who've like faced that, like or faced similar things, do you have like any advice for them?
Yeah, I think that, again, you have to really believe in yourself. Like, that's very important, and sounds very cliche, but like, if you don't believe in yourself, then who will? And again, I think you need to like stand your ground and just be confident. So if someone does doubt you, you need to really like stand up for yourself and tell them like what you think, what you believe, and just don't let other people like talk over you. You need to have like a bigger voice and just be confident in everything you say and do.
And I know you specifically, as a person with like a social media presence while being a student, has that like ever made like a weird play in like life or in your college life?
Yeah, so because I do social media, I think that people have like preconceptions of me as the one that just doesn't take things seriously and doesn't study. So yeah, in a way, sometimes I don't really like it when they do know that I do social media because they just see me in a different light and they doubt me.
Oh,
So yeah, it is what it is. So I can't do anything
yeah.
about it.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. All right, awesome. So now I kind of want to get into your life right now. Could you give us a typical day in the life as a student at Imperial College London?
Yeah. So because Imperial is quite intense, we do have to go in every single day. So for my bachelor's, that wasn't the case. So it's quite new to me, but usually it'll be a 9 to 5. And I mean, on Wednesdays, we
Oh,
have
wow,
half
nine to
days.
five. Uh-huh.
Yes, it's literally a 9 to 5. But on Wednesdays, there are half days, like every single Wednesday. And
Hmm.
because I also do social media on the side, I might have like some content to shoot afterwards. So that's what I usually do. Like I might have a PR invite to like a restaurant in
Oh,
Chinatown. So
nice.
that might be like what I do in the evening. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. And
hmm
do you like 9 to 5? Do you have a work-life balance? What's that like?
Yeah, I've always had a work-life balance actually up
Uh-huh.
until joining Imperial and just doing computer science. So it's been quite hard, but I can still find the time to create content, but it's just a lot more challenging now. I don't know. What
Hmm.
about you since you're also doing social media and work in tech?
Honestly, I think I have a pretty chill like work life. Like I work remotely as a software engineer, and
Yeah,
so it's
exactly.
not like I
hmm
have to be a strict 9 to 5. It's like basically how I think of it. Instead of like a time-based thing, it's more of like a
Yeah.
task-based thing. So as long as I get
Yeah.
the stuff I need to get done by the day and I attend my meetings,
hmm
I'm chilling. Like I usually like social media. I like to do it like either before work, like talking to you right now, or sometimes like
hmm
after work in the evenings.
Yeah.
But it's generally like a healthy work life. Like I work at like a very like people focused like company, so it's like pretty chill. It's
Yeah.
not like toxic work life like in the least bit. So that's why I'm even able to do like social media on the side. So I wouldn't force it if I'm not able to. So it's been pretty
Yeah.
good for me.
Yeah. And how many hours of sleep do you get? Because sometimes I feel like people just don't sleep a lot. That's why they have so much time.
Yeah, so actually last year, so 2023, when
Yeah.
I was like really like starting up, I was like first adding social media and it was like my first full year of like full-time work, right? I definitely did
Yeah.
like not prioritize that as much.
Mm.
There would be some nights where I didn't sleep as much as some other nights, but like my 2024 New Year's resolution, and
hmm
I've been doing a pretty good job of it so far, but like sleeping from 11 to 7, and
That's
it's been
good.
going
Yeah.
well. It's been like 10 days now, so we'll see if it
That's
continues.
good. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but do you get good
hmm
sleep?
I do. Like, I'm the type that loves to sleep. So I can't
Uh-huh.
just stay awake till like 4 working. That's just not for me.
Wow. And so are you able to like, as a person who's like doing all this stuff, sleep, are you able to like maintain like your grades and like stay competitive compared to like other students? Or is it even competitive at your college?
Yeah, it's very very competitive. So
Uh-huh.
it's just I think university is just so different to high school. So in high school
Oh,
you
for
can
sure.
be the top of the class, but once you're at university and also at one that's like quite prestigious, like
Yeah.
it's very very difficult. Like everyone there is really really smart. So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, but are you're still able to like balance it all? Do you have like any like time management hacks or anything like that? Like what do you do?
Yeah.
What's special?
Um that's a good question. Do I have any time management hacks? Yes, I think the most important thing is to just manage your time very efficiently. And again, it sounds so basic, but you really do have to. So, for example, for me,
Mhm.
when I create content, I just use that. So, when I need to take a break from work, I'll create content. It's not a chore. So,
Oh.
because I enjoy it, it's just like a lot more enjoyable. And that way I can use my time very, very efficiently. And I also
Mhm.
think it's very important to have that mindset. You need to know that you will balance your time and you will like complete all the tasks you have to do. So I think there are some
Mhm.
people, maybe they prefer just focusing on one thing at a time. But since I think just the way like I've been raised and like growing up in like an international school and doing just a lot of different things at once and like doing my gap year, I just know that I'm able to like do multiple things at once. So I can like split my focus in a way.
Cool, cool. So yeah, the reason I asked that is because like I mean, obviously
hmm
like students always have the perception that they can either balance like having a social life, academic life,
Yeah.
or sleep, right? It's like you can only do like two of these three things,
Yeah.
but it's not
Yeah.
really like that. I mean, it depends on like the person to person and like what your workload
hmm
is like, but
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to see that you've like found that balance for you.
Yeah.
But I guess going forward into like you, where do you see yourself going? Like, what are your future plans in the tech industry? Do you know like what field you're trying to enter into, what discipline?
Yeah. So it's still very early days, but I would love to be a software developer. Of course, it's
Hmm.
been like 2 months since I learned like coding and stuff. So I don't know yet. That might change. But right now, a software developer, yes, that would be what I would like to be in the future.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. And what about you? So what is your role like exactly in your full-time job?
Yeah, so software engineer formally, but a full stack
Mm.
developer, meaning that I have
Hmm.
some folks in the front end and back end. I am a little more heavier on the front end side. I do a lot of the stuff in like React JS, building like front end components on like the screen. So like pretty much for those who don't know, front end development is everything that faces the user screen. So like when you go on like google.com, like the search bar, like the word
Yeah.
Google and like all those things, right? So that's pretty much what I work on a day-to-day basis. Obviously, like we do like some testing. We gotta do like maintenance. We gotta do like a bunch of like different like
Yeah.
meetings, talk to customers, do demos as part of my work. So it's
Hmm.
pretty good. One thing I would say, like a person who is in software engineering, who sometimes like I like to talk a lot. Like I would consider myself more extroverted. It's important to
Hmm.
not just like code all the time. It's important to actually like try to get those demo opportunities to talk to more people,
Yeah.
to introduce you to more people, to actually like express like that you're interested in these opportunities. Because if you don't, the default is you're just sitting at your laptop coding. And I don't know about you.
Hmm.
Would you consider yourself more extroverted, talkative, or like more introverted side?
Yeah. So I'm definitely more on the like introverted end of the
Uh-huh.
spectrum. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So you might like software engineering then, like the general software engineering.
Like just coding and coding.
Uh-huh.
I think in that sense, I might like it to be a bit more collaborative, so that we can all
Okay.
help each other. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So then in that case, yeah, like my biggest advice to people is just like try to seek like more opportunities than just like the coding part of the work, because that's when it
Mm,
gets like a little boring if that's all you do.
yeah. Yeah. One
Yeah.
question. So, how would
Hmm.
you prepare for coding interviews when you're applying for jobs?
Specifically preparing for the interview parts, obviously you need to know your leet code and your data
Yeah.
structures and algorithms. Certain resources that I found really useful for me, csvistool.com. This was
Hmm.
actually like visualization dashboard thing to actually learn a bunch of different data structures. This is developed by Georgia Tech, the college I went to. And it's
Hmm.
really cool. It shows you the visuals so you can understand the data structures, but also shows you the code so you're able to like implement them. And it's like really like nicely like put together. But the
Hmm.
biggest thing is just practice, practice, practice. Apply to
Yeah.
as many companies as possible. Do every single interview that comes down your route because the more practice you do, the
Yeah.
higher chance you have of succeeding. It's literally just like a numbers game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just volume.
Yeah. Is it very competitive in the States, the job market?
So now, yes, very recently,
Hmm.
or recently, as in like this last year, the economy has been like struggling, and there have been a lot of layoffs, a lot of like
Yeah.
closure of positions. So like in terms of people actually getting opportunities, you need to be like a tad bit better than you were like maybe a couple of years before. But I mean, that's all just reason to sharpen your tools and like do the extra work, right? So,
Hmm.
are you aware of like opportunities in London or not yet?
So I haven't applied for jobs yet, but from what I've heard, it's very, very competitive. So again, it's like a numbers game and you need to apply to a lot of different firms and just keep trying and trying and trying. So yeah, it must be
Hmm.
pretty similar to the States. It's very competitive.
But I mean, I think hopefully like a short term thing where it's like the economy's doing bad. Hopefully things like will recover as it has in the past. So I'm hoping things take a
Hmm.
upturn.
Yeah.
But I'm curious for you, right? So, as a person who recently got into computer science, software engineering field in a sense, um, some people try to do it just for the money. Is it bad to do tech for the money?
I think personally, yes, if you're doing it solely for the money and have no interest in tech, then you're just gonna have a very like sad life with no satisfaction. So I think it would be bad to do tech just for the money.
So my opinion on this,
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily against it. I used to be kind of like, yeah, it makes no sense not to. And if you have absolutely no interest, yes, it's bad if you just do it only for the money.
Yeah.
But let's just say you're passionate about like something. Like let's just say like you want to become like an actor or do like something like those like
Mhm.
wild childhood dreams that everyone has, but like you kind of put away because you're studying college, right? Well,
Mhm.
if for tech, for me at least, like I've seen it as like an easy route to kind of like you graduate, you are able to earn way more than most other college graduates at a certain age. And you can use that like money and like time that you ultimately have to fuel whatever passions you have. So it could be kind of like this like back end thing to like reinvest into like whatever you're interested in, whether you're interested in like social media, want to buy like expensive equipment, like now you have the capital and potentially like the time to do that on your own funds. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like a mix for me. It's like it's not that bad, but it's like you shouldn't do it like only for that. Like there should be like some baseline interest in it, obviously, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I think you said it's very easy to get like a higher paying salary when you first start. But I think
Mm-hmm.
what's not so easy is just getting the degree in the first place because
Mm.
they may not have like an affinity with STEM. I think for you, like you do. That's why it's like it was easy
Yeah.
for you. But I think for some people, it's like really difficult. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, for sure. You
yeah,
need that like you need that like still like a little bit of a spark there, right?
hmm
Before
for
going for
sure.
it. All right. Well, I kind of want to ask one more question before we end off here. Kind of a fun one, but computer
Hmm.
science stereotypes. Now, I've
Yeah.
heard and experienced quite a few of these as a person who's been through the degree, but as a person who's currently a computer science student, what are some computer science stereotypes that you're aware of, and how true? Or yeah, what are they?
Okay, so the first one is that they don't shower. So that's what I've heard, but I think based on my course, they seem pretty normal and clean. So yeah, that's definitely a stereotype. Another one I've heard is that they never see the light. So they're always indoors coding. And it's quite funny because in my department, most of our lectures are in the basement. So there are no windows. And it's true, like we don't see the light in that sense.
Oh.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have
Yeah,
any
so
others?
about the one about like the showering thing, right? So
Yeah.
quick point on that. So like we used to have like these like do you know what hackathons are?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had these like hackathons, like these like coding environments, where people like code projects at Georgia Tech, and they would actually like put signs to inform people to shower because like people would like
Really?
not shower, right? So like
So
I've
it's
definitely like
true.
yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I'm personally clean, but like I know some other people who sometimes don't. But other than that, like the inability to like socialize definitely like is
Yeah, for
true to a
sure.
certain degree. Sort of like the geeky vibes or like the complete nerdy vibes. Like I think is true
Yeah.
to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely had people who like in their fun time like to talk about code, right? And
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
yeah, there's also like sometimes like the stuck up personality, like I'm earning this amount of money, so like I'm cooler than
Mhm.
you. I've definitely seen that.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
those are like the main ones. Any other things that come to your
No, I think you've mentioned them all. Yeah.
well, Karen, thank you so much for joining us on today's video. I think it was really helpful. I hope that this was helpful to the audience to kind of see like a perspective of a current computer science student. And yeah, just if you guys are interested, make sure to follow Karen on Instagram, TikTok, any other platforms.
No, I mean, I have 300 followers on YouTube, so I would just say
Yeah.
Instagram. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool. All right.
Mhm.
Yeah. But thank
Yeah.
you for being here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.